What is he doing first? Anyone can tell me.
Choose the target.
Right. First, yeah, he chooses the target. So that's very important. Choosing your target. Then what? What's the second thing he does? So there's a verse that I really like in the Bible. It says, let your eyes look directly forward and your gaze straight before you. And for me, when I saw this, I was like, wow, that is some super focus right there. Your eyes are directly forward and your gaze is straight before you. So you're not looking to your right, your left. You're just directly targeted onto what you want.
Hi there, Adrian here, and this is a video from a Zoom session that we do. We do these Zoom sessions every Sunday and we take questions and answers from the audience. Some of our students, some of our members. We never know what questions are coming up, so I'm always excited to do these sessions and I hope to see you at one of them. Make sure you hit the subscribe button below and check out the other playlists that we have. Thank you, enjoy.
There are like about 7 areas that we all want to have some kind of focus in our lives. So these are 7, but there are a lot more. Like a lot of people, their aim is to have a beautiful family, have a large income. Spiritually, they would like to get to the next level with God. Physically, they want to be very, very fit. So we have a lot of goals that we would like, and in many different areas of our lives. So I would like us to think about one area of your life that you would like to see some exponential growth or exponential focus, something that you would like to improve, right? That will make the other areas of your life as well. So I want you to focus in on one thing. Ask yourself, what is one thing that I can do that will give the greatest returns overall in other areas of my life as well? Also, right, I wanted to explain, first of all, I didn't mean that you only focus on this one thing in all, like for your whole life and not other parts, but this one thing would help you in other areas of your life. So I'm not saying don't focus on other things as well, but there's always this one particular thing that will help you in other areas of your life, and it is sometimes even more beneficial to spend a little bit more time on this specific area because it would help you in other areas of your life. Right? Sometimes we have the time, but we don't have the money. But if we can focus in on one thing, one of those, then we can ensure, like maybe if it's your career, you focus a little bit more on your career in order to have the money, and then later on you will have more time to spend with your family and so on. So it is all about deciding just to put a little bit more effort into one area that will help in other areas of your life as well. And I really agree with Pamela. And all right, so the next part is to set some goals. But what kind of goals? Goals in these areas of your life. Like for each part of your life, you should set a goal or goals, and we need that these goals are specific for each one. It has to be specific. And what do we mean by specific? You need to have a number. For example, if you want to lose weight, you would say, I want to lose 20 pounds. And it must be measurable. So now that you're at 60 kgs, and sorry, let's say 120, you're at 120 kgs, and you want to lose 20 kgs. So your focus is to getting to 100 kgs. So it is measurable in that you can weigh one day and the next day you can keep weighing and exercising, weighing and exercising, and then you will see your results after some time. But it must be achievable as well. So you can't say, well, I want to lose 30 kgs, but I want to do it in 2 days. This really doesn't make sense. It's highly unlikely that you will make it. But we should structure it in such a way that it is attainable. You're able to get it. And also relevant. It should be relevant to what you're doing and so on. And of course, lastly, time-based. You should always put time on it and put a date on it. So I want to achieve this by this time. So for example, you can say, I want to have, I want to save at least $20,000 by the end of the year. So it's specific, it's measurable. It is achievable if you're making more than 20,000 every month or so on, and your expenses don't always run over. So, and then you, of course, it's the end of the year, so you have the time together. So if you're in January, you have 12 months together. So it is also measurable. So what are some goals that you would like to achieve, and how can we structure them? What are your goals? What would you like to achieve, and how can you structure them in this way? Being specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-based. All right, so for me, let me give you an example. So when I was home, one of the goals back in 2015, I wanted to come to China really badly, actually. And I had gotten two opportunities before. One was writing I had to write a song or perform a Chinese song, and I knew no Chinese. So that opportunity went by like that. And I only had 2 months to do that. And even though I tried, I failed because it wasn't achievable, because at that time I knew no Chinese at all. So that didn't work out in this case. But then the second opportunity was a scholarship with the Barbados government. Now, I applied, I sent in everything and so on. And it could have been achieved, but I was missing something that's not even here. I was missing that, as they say in Chinese, guangxi. You really had to know somebody to get that scholarship. So then I saw another opportunity. It happened a little later. I was at work and literally it came past my desk. They asked me to send it out to students because at that time I worked in the university and I was in charge of marketing and so on. So I sent out all the information to the students, and I also applied for the same scholarship. I said, it just passed in front of me. Like, this is meant for me. So I applied and I sent in everything. I was specific that year. I said, in 2015, I am going to China. I didn't even know how I was going there, but almost everything that I did was very specific to that. I remember having even my password to my computer every day. My passwords were long. My password for that computer at work was, I am going to China in 2015. And I mean, like, it was like every day I would be typing in that thing, and like my brain consciously knew I was going to China in 2015. So it was being reiterated every single day. And even if I forgot, my brain didn't. So it knew that I had to do everything that I needed to do in order to get there. And even when I was sending in the information for the scholarship, I needed to write, what do you call it? It's called, it was this long essay, basically, that you had to say exactly what you're going to do when you arrive in China, and why you were going to be here, the specifics of it all. And when you go back home, what are you going to do with this, the information and the things that you've learned and so on. So I had to write out all of that. I didn't have a lot of time to do it, but I asked for help and I got help. So I'm just saying that sometimes we set goals for ourselves. Yes, they are specific. You know the time you want to do this. And it may or may not be achievable, but sometimes you have to ask for help. Yes, it is relevant to what you want to do. At that time is relevant for me because I really wanted to come to China to do business, to study. It was a twofold thing. And and I was sure I was coming in 2015. So I'm just saying you can also start to be very specific with the goal that you want to attain. Also ask yourself, why do you want to attain it? Be very clear as to why you're doing something. Sometimes we have to set sometimes we have to set goals that may even be a little uncomfortable, in that it might not be something that you will just get like that, but maybe just a little bit out of your reach. At least in your mind, you think it's a little bit out of your reach, but you can still set goals that are just a little bit out of your reach, that you can, that you still have to make some effort to get there, So it really does help you to think and to also manage your time and your effort and focus in order to get there. All right, speaking of mind. So what are some things that we take for granted? What are some things that we take for granted when it comes to focusing on our lives, focusing on specific things like our careers, and focusing in on our family, or focusing in on finances? What are some things that we take for granted in these areas?
I think what comes up for me first is something that I've been seeing a lot, not only with my work with clients, but even in my own personal life with the mental part, is that a lot of us do not have a clear vision, of what our goal looks like, even before we achieve it. Sometimes we still want to achieve this particular goal. However, we don't spend time sitting and really, practice visualizing that goal consistently. Yeah, like you said, when you were before you came to China, even your password said, I'm coming to China in 2015. And I'm sure as you did that exercise, there was a small moment of visual prowess there as you're creating that. And sometimes we take this little exercise for granted. Yeah, most of us as NLP practitioner understand the power of visualization because it's at the root of everything that we do when it comes to some modalities, behavior change. So even when it comes to improving different areas of your life, whether it's 5 minutes every day, spend some time just to visualize like a kid, of what that is going to look like even before you have it. Yeah, and that can literally change the game for you in your relationship, in your career, and with your health. Yeah, and there's a body of work behind, why this work and how it can work. Yeah.
I find that a lot of us forget, like, we have our minds. We need to activate this power that God has given us, and we can visualize, we can create the picture, but not forgetting the fact that sometimes we create these pictures and it feels as though we've already attained them, so then we don't put as much effort into them. So we should also visualize what it is like if we don't achieve it, if we don't get it, because it would push you even further when you think about the negative part, not achieving it, not getting it. What would your life look like then? So we also want to give ourselves like a kickstart in that area. We want to really understand like what could be the consequences if we don't achieve our goal in this area. All right, so for example, if you have children, you have 3 or 4 kids, and you are in a career, you're trying to get to the next level, but you know that in order to do that, you really have to hone in on your skills. You have to re-educate yourself, and you have to put in that time, right? But the outcome, if you do get this, is that you'll be able to provide for your children, your children's education and so on will be covered. But if you don't get this could mean that your children don't get a good education. They can end up in poverty. It can be a whole long list of bad things to come. So when you think of that, you'll be like, wow, okay, I really need to focus in on doing these things because I don't want these bad things to happen. So we really can focus our minds more. Sometimes not only by looking at the positive picture, but also the negative one as well. All right, so what are some things that we can do to hone our mind, to get our mindset in the right place? What are some things we can do to get our mind set?
I think the best way is through learning, through getting trained and reading. So that's how we are changing our mind. At least I managed to do this during the past few years. So only training, interaction with people. So the people with the same way of thinking, working with coaches. So that's how I try to do some introspection, do some changes, and change the whole set of thinking.
Very good, Darko. Yeah, that is true. I've also been reading a lot more as well. I definitely think that has really opened up a lot more pathways in my mind and also helped me in also refocusing and also finding the need for a coach. And it really started to really open up my mind because years ago I would have said, I'm not going to pay any money for a coach. And I'm like, no, that's too much money. But then when I started to read more, I recognized that spending money on a coach can actually multiply the process even faster. I can get to the point that I want to get to much faster. It can save me time and also help me to attain the goals much faster. So there's just these things that we just need to think about and make sure our mind is set. Yes, you want to have a mindset where doesn't matter what happens, you will get up again and you keep going. So that is a good mindset to have. Thank you for sharing. All right, guys. So some other things that we can look at when we think about our minds. These are some things. Exercise. Why do you think exercising our bodies also brings benefits to your mind? Go ahead. Tell me. No.
I thought you were asking
Go
a question. So as everyone was sharing the whole thought of, your mind is only as efficient as the vehicle in which it lives. Yeah. And, I've been around computer for a very long time, and I always try to draw parallels. I was very meticulous in the way how I modify my machines. And I realized it doesn't matter how fast or powerful the CPU I have, which is equivalent to the mind. Yeah. If the other parts of the computer isn't able to support that CPU, what usually happens, the CPU overheats and the machine crash. And we see that happens a lot with humans. Yeah, we have a lot of visionaries, very visionary, but their body just can't keep up, yeah, with all that ideas, with all that passion and ambition that they're pulling in. They know what they're supposed to do, but the body's not moving, yeah, at the same speed that their mind are moving. And then there's overload, there's burnout, there's crash. So yeah, exercise becomes very important as a result of that.
Yeah, yes, definitely. Exercise is very, very important. We get a lot of benefits from exercise, the body, the mind. I think even spiritually, we can probably see some benefits there as well. So it improves your concentration, and concentration, we need concentration to focus. And one of the things that I had recognized only this year is that I was actually probably most of the time dehydrated, and I didn't know. And I was doing a coaching session with my coach, and he had mentioned that I should, choose one of these things that I should do. So I chose drinking more water. So then I started drinking more water, and I recognized for myself that I can actually sit down for longer periods and actually work. And so at that point, I just started to realize that, all that time I could have been dehydrated because I was trying to do something with very little, or, not much benefit was happening. Like, I couldn't concentrate very well. I would sit down for like 20 minutes and I'd be like, let me go and do something else. So I was really, really out of focus, really. So it's only after I started to drink some water more that I recognized that I was dehydrated, and that my concentration started to improve after starting to drink more water. And that might not be the problem for you. Maybe it's actually exercising. For me, exercising, I haven't really gotten it into as a habit, but I've been doing my 7 minutes exercise daily, and so far, so good. But I would say that we need rigorous exercise at least for 30 minutes to bring up our heart rate in order to have great improvement. At least that's what all the readings have said. So I do know that the benefit is more of when you actually do rigorous exercise. So you need to get your heart rate up to a certain point in order to have that real benefit of improved concentration, stress relief, and also boosting of your memory. All right, so let's now look at the body. All right, what are some things that you think that we can do for our body that will, we discussed one or two just now, but what are some things you think we can do with our body to help improve our focus and concentration and also attention? Anyone wants to share?
Well, you talked about with our bodies, you talked about the exercise, keeping it moving, and eating, of course. If you don't eat, it's just like your water that you had a hard time intaking. If you don't eat, you don't have the energy, right? You don't have the focus, you don't have the concentration. So definitely exercise, eating, and meditating. Meditating, bringing back the focus inwards, right? We tend to do so much on the outside that it's important for ourselves as people to bring it back.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. So we definitely need to put in order to get out, right? But we need to put in the right things in order to get out all the good benefits from our bodies. So what do we need to eat then? What do we need to eat? What do we need to put into our bodies to get the benefit of concentration and focus?
Barbados
And then also,
rum.
oh no, Pamela. Sorry. Sorry. So not rum. Actually, that might be a hindrance more than a benefit. So we do need to put some good things into our bodies, right? And eating right is really beneficial. So things like avocados, omega-3 fatty acids, these things help our brains actually. And in order to produce what's it called? More
Endorphin.
it helps your brain to concentrate better. I can't remember exactly what part it affects, but I think it's the but
Endorphin.
omega-3. Go ahead. Say it
I
again.
mean, endorphin, it's a enzyme. Endorphin and lower cortisol. It
Yeah,
helps
very
in
good.
our mood. Yes.
Yeah. And it reduces inflammation. Very good. Yeah, you're right.
Yes.
Just remembered. Inflammation reduces inflammation in the body. And so some people say plant-based foods are probably better for your bodies, right? You can agree or you can disagree. It doesn't matter. But what you should do is like at least 80% of what you put into your body should be a benefit, right? Should be good. Maybe the 20%, it's okay. But majority of what you put in should be beneficial to your body. And so that you can get the outcome that you're hoping for, which is more focus, more concentration, and so on. So some plant-based foods have been seen to give you more concentration and those things, because meats and like red meats and so on, they stay longer in your body to digest. And when these things are in your body and stay longer, your body is using more energy to digest that food. So it actually takes away from your concentration. Like if you're doing work, it actually takes away from the concentration to do your work in order to digest your food, right? So it is better to eat lightly if you're going to be doing a lot of work, rather than eating like a really heavy meal. And then when you're finished, then you're unable to concentrate on what you have to do, right? So that's one thing. Any other areas or any other things that you think our bodies need or should use in order to give that benefit of more focus and concentration and attention?
I had this on my mind to say, which sometimes is usually overlooked, and that's the idea of relaxation. Yeah, most often we build a lot of tension in our body and we are usually unaware of it. And tension uses energy. Yeah, and if you look at energy as something that flows from one area to the next, if you have different points throughout your body that is always in tension, sometimes you're tired and you don't even know why you're tired. This tension can come as a result of, sitting for very long. This tension can be as a result of traumatic experience that you've had and you're clinched up in certain area and it's just stuck there and it never really releases itself. So actively stretching helps a lot. Yeah, whether it's in the morning, before you sleep, after a workout, or even going and getting a massage. Yeah, are things that really help as well. Or sometimes even going for a really nice walk. Yeah, next to a really nice river surrounded by trees helps your body to relax unconsciously. So that's another big one. Yeah.
Yeah, totally agree with you as well on that. Relaxation is very important when you, especially if you're focused on one thing, you need to have a downtime, a period where you're not focused. Is the same like if you're running a race, you're running a 100-meter sprint, and you know that you have to do another one in about 20 minutes after that one. So you do the 100-meter sprint, but then you have to rest, right? In order to recover, to be able to do the next sprint. So the same with being focused. We need to be focused, then we need to relax, be unfocused, and then focused again, then unfocused. So it is a back and forth thing. In order to get the benefit, we need to relax and recover, right? So some people may say, well, maybe after I do like 25 minutes of work, I can go look at my phone and watch a movie or, something like that. But not exactly. You're still focused, but you're focused on your phone and what's happening there. So it's still focus time. So that's not focus. That's not relaxing. You really need to find something like walking or something in nature, something natural that you can do. Walking by the river, even running can also be a relaxing thing to do. A little jog that can bring your mind into unfocused state, so that when you're ready to do some more focused work, you are able to do that in a very efficient way. All right. So we're getting to the meat of the matter. All right. So what are some other things that we can do for our bodies? This one is really important. We don't think about this very, very often, but it is important.
Fasting.
Exactly. Very good. Say it again. Sleep and somebody said something else.
Fasting.
Fasting is very important as well. Very good. Yeah. So sleep is really important for the body. I would say fasting is important for your spirit, but that's the next point. All right. So sleeping, I think we need to have between the studies say between 7 to 8 hours. But I believe that if you feel rested and you've gone into REM and that deep sleep, right, then your body is able to recover and recoup and heal. Then as long as you feel rested and you're able to take on the next day and you don't have any lethargic feelings when you get up or any groggy feelings, then you would have met your quota, right? So that is sleep. And how many of you have done fasting before? How many of you have done fasting before?
I do a regular fast every week, like 3 weeks, that's 3 days a week.
Okay, sounds good. All right, so what are the benefits that you think you get from fasting? I just want to hear people's point of view first. What are the benefits you think you get from fasting? When you fast, how do you feel?
I use it as a spiritual discipline.
Sorry, go ahead, Hannah. Sorry.
Yes, I use fasting for spiritual discipline.
For spiritual discipline, yes. I agree with you, Hannah. I do it for the same reason as well.
Well, for me, my approach for fasting was a bit more physical. Yeah, like when I really want to get lean, yeah, I'm really into taking care of my body. So usually I'm in a fasted state from maybe 7 p.m. to all the way up to maybe 11 p.m. So that's usually my fasted state. So that way I don't have to worry too much about what I eat. So those are some of the benefits as well as we are speaking about focus, and sometimes when you eat a heavy meal, yeah, because your body is now focusing on digesting, yeah, you can feel very tired or very, they call it ethnic fatigue at the middle of the day. Being in a fast sometimes can help, once you're hydrated and once you feel like you're in that going state. And there's a lot of biological benefits to fasting as well, as in terms of having your body being able to use fat reserves for energy instead of carb, which is a much more long burning source of energy, meaning it could last you a longer period of time instead of having to consume a lot of carbohydrates for energy.
Yeah, true. Golden Seed, what about you?
Well, for me, there are a lot of benefits. The biggest thing I would say is like shifting the self-centeredness to other-centeredness and to world-centeredness, to world conscious, because I do regular fast every week. And then for every fast, I have an intention. Like on Tuesdays, I'm fasting for all the families in the world, for all the education, and Thursdays for leadership. and the Saturdays for the needs of the world. So there are different intentions to fasting. Also, it's not just for spiritual growth, but also for mental growth, and I could think more clearly. My focus, my concentration is super intense. I would be able to get more than when I'm eating. So it's really, it's beyond words. It's just the energy, the power is there. It makes me more stronger. It makes me more more purpose driven and more focused, especially others focused and world centered, the needs of the world centered, not just for myself. Yeah.
Nice, nicely said, Golden Seed. I too believe that, when I fast, I feel more centered towards God. I feel light as well. And I do get the benefit of concentration and targeted, laser targeted focus. So I feel light, and I'm able to expend more. I get more done, especially on mornings when I get up and I don't have breakfast until about maybe 11 or 12, and I feel really light during that time. I just drink tea and I'm able to do a lot more. But if I get up and I first eat breakfast, I find I'm just not about doing so much work. But up until that point of fasting, I feel I got a lot more benefit in terms of focusing and being able to do more work. So you can try it for that reason, or you can try it to get more spiritually closer to God. It depends on you. Yeah. All right. So just coming back again now to that one thing that we all may want. It maybe for you, it's, guys can still hear me? I feel like,
Yes.
Mhm. Yes.
thank you. For you, that one thing is getting into shape. So maybe your one thing is exercising, losing weight. But you decide what that one thing is for you that will bring you benefits in other areas of your life. I'm not saying neglect other areas of your life. What I am saying is to put more focus on one specific area that you believe will also help you in other areas of your life. And it will make it a little easier working on the other things, right? So exercise is one of those things for me. I'm struggling with that, but I've gotten to a point where I am at my 7 minutes and I say, okay, fine, but I'm going to try to increase it as the days go by. I'm really going to work on that because I know what the benefit could be for me, right? I know that if I can exercise more, I will get more clarity. I'll be able to sit and concentrate longer on the things that I want to do. Sorry. I'll be able to sit and concentrate for longer periods, and I'll be able to be more focused on the goals that I've already set for myself. And in terms of life as well, you want to live a longer life. Exercise can also do that for you. And also clarity of their mind. There are so many benefits from exercise alone that you can get that can go into other areas of your life. Finances, so you're able to work better at work, right? When you come home, you have more energy to spend with your children. So it really gives you some overarching benefits. So also spiritually as well, connecting more and getting closer to God can also bring you benefits in other areas of your life as well. Your finances, getting closer to God really can open a lot of doors as well. So you decide, what that one thing is for you, and try to focus in a little bit more on it and give it some extra attention, and it would help you in other areas as well. All right, so let's go on. So what is your one thing? What is your one thing once again? Is it wealth, health, relationships? What is it for you? All right, so I hope you guys have decided what that one thing that you can do in order to get the wealth that you want and desire. And but this is something that you should really think about for a little while, not just in this webinar for the last hour, but it can really bring you a huge exponential growth. It can give you exponential growth if you choose the right thing, right? That you would choose to focus on in order to get that. So you really have to sit down and think about it for a long while. What is that one thing that I can do that can really bring me exponential wealth in this area, right? Or what's the one thing I can do in my health that can really bring me the greatest benefit, not only in health, but in all areas of my life? What's the one thing I can do in my relationships that can really bring me closer to God or to my partner? What is that one thing? And that can also bring me benefits in other areas of my life. And if you read that book, The One Thing, that is partially where I got some of these ideas, but not the whole thing, because they just tell you about just choosing one thing. But I think it is just more than just choosing the one thing. There's one thing you can choose, but then it really brings you some more benefits in other areas. So I had been reading another book, this one, The Power of Habit. And there was an example in this book that talked about this guy. He gets taken over a company. I don't want to go through so many details, but he had taken over a company, and the company initially wasn't doing very well. He took over and he became the manager, and he decided to concentrate on one thing. That one thing was safety, right? Was safety. Just ensuring the safety of the workers, ensuring the safety of, everything that they did, that there was a system for this. So he created the system, and within, I think 2 or 3 years, there was greater benefits in other areas as well. Not only were the employees coming to work often, that was one extra benefit. People weren't getting hurt on the job anymore, that was another. And profits started to increase, it was like that one thing really transformed the whole company. So the One Thing book doesn't talk about that, but this one brought that out for me, and really I honed in on that one. So you have to be very careful with which one thing you choose, because it could have exponential benefits in other areas of your life as well. So yeah, basically we're saying here now is that we need to have good habits in order to develop the intentions and the focus and the goals and so on that we want to attain. We need to have good habits. And what can we do to start, setting out a plan that we can start to build habits? What can we do to set good habits?
Well, let me jump in here, as this is an area that I worked with a lot. I think the simplest thing is to start with what you already know. Yeah, and that means coming from a place of self-awareness and establishing, okay, what are the habits that I already have that are working for me? And once you find out what habits are already working for you, build on top of those. Yeah, sometimes we can be told that, okay, we need to know what our bad habits are and try to change them. I think that would take a much longer time. So a really easy one would be, okay, you get up every morning and you brush your teeth. That's a habit that you've been slaying. What's a habit that you've always wanted to start, that if you do start this habit can result in exponential impact in your life? Yeah, immediately after you brush your teeth, do that habit. Yeah, so maybe some of you here are struggling with, starting an exercise habit. what you can start doing immediately after you brush your teeth, do a few squats. Yeah, immediately after you brush your teeth, hold the plank. Yeah, and as time goes by and you start developing this array of good habits, the not so good habits will start, dissipating to the wayside. And I'll also have this saying that, we don't really have good or bad habits. I believe all of our habits are serving a purpose. Yeah. However, the purpose that those habits are serving is not creating the results that some of us want. So start from self-awareness. What habits are working for you? And establish the habits that you want to develop and just, anchor them to those habits that are already working. So that would be my 2 cents.
Nice. Thank you. Thank you so much. For sure, we definitely need to anchor new habits onto existing habits. It makes it a lot easier. All right, so we've already looked at the mind, the body, and of course the spirit. So we are now looking at deep work, things that we can do to really start focusing in and to get and attain those goals. So we're now talking about habits, and habits can change into your character. So the more you do something, it slowly becomes part of your character. So if it is a bad habit, you can be sure it is part of your character by now if you've had it from the time you were young. But we can break those bad habits by slowly implementing a new habit in front of it. So for example, if you always go to the fridge and you take out a sweet drink, what you can do instead is, instead of putting sweet drinks into the fridge, we only put water in the fridge. So each time you go there, you take out water. And that is a little small one, but in terms of bigger habits, maybe smoking, these are things maybe you would need some extra help with, and maybe some NLP help. Yeah, so you can probably go into some exercises about that. So let's try to develop deep work. Develop a schedule and a routine, work on things that matter, and of course, add in laziness. Because we know ourselves, we know we're going to be a little lazy, so we also have to add that into your routine. At first, when I was in school, I would always say, having a schedule, I hate this thing, I really do. But after leaving school and recognizing, I can remember when I left university, and there was one point I realized, wait, I used to get so many subjects. Like I used to go to like 8 classes in one day. And I am here struggling, trying to get a few things done. Like, really? So what I started to do was to go back to having a timetable. And then from that time, like just slotting in the times to do everything, it just started to save a lot of time. And if you have an app, there's so many apps on our phones now. You can find there's Calendly, there's so many, there's calendars, there's so many different apps on your phone. You just choose one and you can put in your own schedule. I don't know. You can put in your own schedule for every day. Just trying to show you guys. Right, so here, this is kind of my schedule. And I have another app on my phone. It's called Routinery. So when I add in all the things I want to do in the morning for my morning routine, and I just click on it and I press it and it starts to run. Here's what it looks like. Well, this is the streak. Hang on. Go back. Sorry, this is the home screen for what it looks like. But I have added in everything that I'm going to do each morning. So in the morning is like praying, stretching, Bible, then breathing, drink some hot water, reading. So there's a long list. but the essential thing is that it allows you to to build a routine. So I know myself, I'm a pretty lazy person at points. So all I have to do is when I roll over on my bed, I click on this thing, and it actually just starts to sound out everything I have to do. So from the time I wake up, then I click on the first one, it will start with the prayer, and then there'll be a countdown. If I go over the time that I've allocated for it, it would say, you've been over, prayer is over. You need to go on to the next one. So it really helps me to like kind of stay on schedule. It gives me the time. I can actually increase the time if I need more time, but it helps with like building the habit of actually doing it. So is there anyone else who can tell me about how you can build or develop a schedule or a routine? So to develop a schedule and a routine, this will help you to just be on focus. If you know you're a person that, like me, you probably will spend the whole day sitting if you could. But if you have a schedule and something to remind you, like me, I use these help me to stay on task so that I remember like, I need to do this and when I need to do it, so that I can use the time wisely and still at the same time, still have time to relax and, still feel like I can have it basically. So work on things that matter. So make sure these are the things that push the needle forward for you and not on things that won't help you. And remember that add in the laziness time, because the unfocused time, the time that you're going to walk and to relax and so on, actually helps you to work better when you are focused, when you're doing focused work, right? So I would just like to kind of end there. And I mean, like there are a lot of things that we can say. These are some tips, like include healthy brain foods, avocados, turmerics, those kind of things, and eat well, sleep well. So these are things that we should try to incorporate. But in the end, what I really want to say is we should really look at our bodies, our minds, and our spirits in order to focus in on what we really want. But if you aim at nothing, you will hit everything. And I just want to end with that quote, because if we're scattered and we don't have any focus, then we can't attain the things that we want. But if we are focused and we can hone in on the goals and so on, then we will be able to attain the things that we want out of life.
Boom! You made it here! Good on you. Make sure you click the subscribe button below and check out the playlist at the end. If you'd like to come along to our Sunday sessions where we host a live free Q&A for our students and members, you're welcome. I'll see you there.